Sara Campbell is a prime example of just how well our bodies can adapt to the water. She's able to stay underwater for longer and dive much deeper than almost any other human.
It feels like a very natural place for me to be. For as long as I can remember, even before I learned how to swim, I loved being underwater. I've often questioned where this talent has come from, this ability. And I just have to remember the fact that I'm a mammal and we all evolved from the seas millions of years ago. And for me, it feels like home.
Sara has trained her natural ability to become a world champion freediver. She's able to harness a range of physiological responses that allow her to survive underwater for extended periods. And she's promised to teach me the first step, which is how to hold my breath for longer.
So the first thing that we start with is teaching how to breathe correctly. Most people have a very shallow breath and they're not maximizing the capacity of their lungs. So what we need to think about is a 3-part breath, starting with the belly, moving up to the chest, and finishing by topping up into the shoulders.
We usually use only 10% of our lung capacity, but Sara's technique makes use of their full volume, preparing her body for a breath hold attempt.
All right.
Do I need the sound effects as well?
Try doing it as if you're sucking through a straw.
Okay.
Yeah? Yeah. Okay, so for the next part, we're going to do a breath hold. So we're going to lie you down, do some long, deep breathing, do some relaxation.
All right.
Okay. So the most important thing now is for you to relax and be nice and calm. So when you feel ready, hold your breath. Give me the signal with the finger that you've begun your breath hold.
With every breath, we're inhaling oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide. But when we hold our breath, that gas exchange in our lungs grinds to a halt and changes our physiology. The oxygen levels in our blood start falling, but more importantly, the carbon dioxide levels rise. And it's this rise in CO2 that's detected by receptors in our brain, which in turn trigger our urge to breathe. And one of the first places to feel those signals is the diaphragm, which starts to contract involuntarily in an attempt to inflate the lungs. What I have to do is try and ignore those spasms, though of course you should never try to do this at home.
Here we can see Kevin's diaphragm pulling down, wanting to breathe. That's good. Keep calm, Kevin. Keep relaxed. When you feel that urge to breathe, it's not coming from a lack of oxygen, it's coming from the fact that the carbon dioxide levels in your blood are increasing. But actually you have more than enough oxygen in your body to continue for 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes more. 3, 2, 1, and breathe. Well done. Good. How do you feel?
Out of breath.
So you got your contractions at 1 minute 30.
Yeah.
And you held to 1 minute 50. So it's a very good start.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Quite enough for championship freediving, I don't think.
Not yet. Well done.
What can you manage?
Oh, I've done 5:12.
5:12?
Yeah. But if you compare that to the world records, the women are at 8 minutes 20 and the men at 11:35.
11:35?
A little bit of practice.
I'm sure that can't be good for you.
But you see how the body is able to adapt and deal with extreme lacks of oxygen and still survive. It's really incredible.
From her base here in Egypt, Sara has trained her remarkable ability to become one of the world's best freedivers. A sport in which the aim is to dive as deep as possible on a single breath. It marks the limit of how far we can explore underwater without the aid of technology, and it pushes human physiology to the very limit.
So Sara's just here, looking very comfortable at 10 metres, and this for her is just the beginning. She can manage to get down another 90 metres to almost 100 metres. And to do that, her body has to undergo some quite impressive physiological changes.
The first change happens as soon as the water touches the nerve endings in her face. In response to the water, signals are sent to the heart, telling it to slow down, reducing its work rate and conserving oxygen to be used by the brain.
Let's have a look. Now that's nice and slow. Probably getting on for less than 50 beats per minute there. And that's very impressive. And when Sara gets down closer to 100 metres, her heart rate can get down as low as 36 beats per minute.
As she dives deeper, her physiology changes even more. Her circulation changes. The blood vessels in her limbs constrict, reducing blood flow to the body's periphery, further conserving her oxygen supplies. At depths below 50 metres, the pressure can cause fluid to leak into her lungs. It's a potentially dangerous response, but it may protect the lungs from further damage on very deep dives. It's these changes that have allowed Sara to dive straight down for over a minute and a half to the incredible depth of 96 metres. This ability to change our physiology underwater is something we share with all mammals. It's called the dive reflex, and it's a throwback to our distant evolutionary past when we were all aquatic creatures. Today, the dive reflex is strongest in marine mammals, which are able to survive underwater because they can reduce their demand for oxygen to almost nothing. While Sara can dive to nearly 100 metres, a sperm whale can reach 3,000 metres and stay submerged for 90 minutes.
What you have to realise when you're watching Sara do this incredible thing of diving free on a single breath is you forget that this is a limited lease for her. She's fighting the urge to breathe as the carbon dioxide builds up in her body, in her bloodstream. And at the same time, the oxygen levels are falling. So sooner or later, something has to happen. Either she has to return to the surface to take a breath, or she's going to pass out.
And the danger of passing out gets greater the closer she gets to the surface. Already oxygen-starved, the sudden drop in pressure further reduces the level of oxygen in her bloodstream, which can have devastating consequences. This is Sara diving in the Bahamas, attempting to become the first woman to dive to 100 metres on a single breath. Having reached her target, all she had to do to claim the record was return safely to the surface.
Hold yourself up. Breathe. Nice flip. Grab her.
No flip. Get the leg weight off.
Talk slow, please.
Low on her face. Marco.
Talk slow. Right off. Breathe. Okay.
Without the safety divers on hand, Sara could have drowned. As it was, because she passed out, her record didn't stand.
Almost, so close.
Blackouts like these are common amongst freedivers, and they reveal our underlying frailty in the water.
Sara is a world-class freediver, and despite all of her training and all of the precautions that she takes, she cannot make this activity completely safe. She's at the very, very edge of her physiology each time she descends into the deep, and it's a sobering reminder reading the textbooks and the case histories of people who've had horrific accidents, sometimes fatal accidents, undertaking exactly this type of feat. And so our stays underneath the surface of the ocean, unsupported, are limited to a few hundred seconds, a few tens of meters. And if we want to stay longer and go deeper, we're going to need something in the way of technology that can protect us.